Hey everybody, it's Abby from Craft Industry Alliance. I hope you are doing well today. We are here every Wednesday for our member spotlight, which is an opportunity for us to drop in on one of our amazing Craft Industry Alliance members, learn a little bit about their business journey and maybe see some samples of their work. Today, we're very excited to be joined by Madonna Yoder. And Madonna is somebody who kind of mixes math and textiles in a fascinating way. I am excited to learn more about her business and get to see some samples of her work. While we wait for Madonna to join us, I did want to tell you a little bit more about what's going on at Craft Industry Alliance. Yesterday, we had our Craft Business Roundtable, which is a monthly meetup for all of our members, which was super fun. And we have a webinar about ADA compliance for your website coming up later this month, and we would love for you to join us for that. Mirna Deremy will be teaching that webinar for us. So I see you here into our member spotlight. So if you're interested in ADA compliance, please join us for that webinar. You can register right on our website. All of our webinars are recorded so members can watch them anytime. Hey Madonna, how are you?
Doing well, and you, Abby?
I am good. Good to see you. I'm very excited to talk with you about your work. I was saying earlier, you sort of combine math and textiles in a fascinating way that's also really beautiful. So I wondered if you could kind of give us, the elevator pitch. What is it that you do?
Sure. So I transform flat sheets of materials into repeating textures, whether that's with paper, doing origami tessellations like this one,
Wow.
or in fabric, doing these puffy textures that you can then turn into some really cool items.
That is an amazing stocking. Wow, I love that so much. It's super modern, very cool, very geometric. So this is sort of a combination, I would say, between origami, as you mentioned, and also smocking. So I don't know if I think most people are probably pretty familiar what is origami. Maybe they did it as a kid in school or whatever. Smocking, some people may not really know what that means. So maybe you can describe what is smocking.
Sure, and especially because the kind of smocking that people have heard about is usually English smocking, which is a more decorative stitch done on top of already pleated fabric. But this is North American smocking, so I'm marking points on the fabric and then stitching them together and just tying a knot there to stitch it together to make these textures on the other side.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I would love to take a workshop. I'm very fascinated by this. Do you have a book? It's called The Art of Manipulating Fabric. Have you ever seen this book?
I do have that book.
I
I
love
haven't
that book.
read it, but I have
Okay.
it.
So that is a book where it's like almost like little swatches of all these different ways to sort of create that kind of texture on fabric through, I guess, smocking stitches and folds. And all of them are white, so it's all white on white. Anyway, I love that book and I find it beautiful, but I've actually never done any of the techniques in it. I feel like when I took a workshop from you, I would actually do these things. So how did you decide to get into this? Like, this is kind of an unusual technique. Did you develop some of this and how did you get into doing this?
Yeah, so I started with the origami side first. I'd been folding origami for about a dozen years before I took a geometric folding algorithms course in undergrad. And I mean, that's a pretty unique course that I don't think is offered anywhere else. And doing that course, I did a final project that got me to an origami research conference. And while I was at that conference, someone else was presenting on doing these tessellations in fabric using smocking techniques. So I learned from her. Her name's Adrienne Sack, and I started applying some of my math brain to it, where we were doing these weave patterns, and the traditional way of doing a weave pattern would be to connect 2 points together to make a whole bar of the weave. But the math brain says, oh no, you need 2 points to define a line. So you need 2 groups of points to fix a bar in space. So that's kind of how I got started. And then you can transform a lot of these origami tessellation patterns into fabric.
And so have you done some of that original work? Like I don't know. I mean, it sounds like her work was a little bit different from what you're doing. Do you think that you've sort of developed some of these techniques like on your own?
Yeah, so a lot of the patterns that I use are original to me. There's traditional patterns. Adrienne had some patterns from traditional origami tessellations, and then what I do is mostly either my own origami tessellations that have been converted, or ideas that don't show up anywhere in the traditional set of patterns, such as using a triangle grid instead of a square grid.
It's so beautiful. Okay, so what are some applications for this? I mean, I saw that you made a Christmas stocking. I actually could see people incorporating this into a quilt block or into a quilt because I see, those puffy quilts where, I mean, it does have
Mhm.
folds, it does have dimension. This is obviously much more complex than that, but it is in some way related.
In some ways, I would say that smocking is easier.
Okay,
So once you have a pattern, then it's no more complex than sewing on a bunch of buttons.
right, because you're just making a stitch and a knot. It's not
Mhm.
really, it's just like laying out the pattern, understanding where to make those stitches.
Exactly. So once your points are marked, you're you're golden. So some things that I've done, yeah, I have done some quilts. I did a wall hanging. One of my friends asked me to do a wall hanging that interprets some of her research on underwater photography color correction. And so I was able to use the smocking to emulate a coral reef underwater. And then another project I did is a kind of a fidget quilt style thing as a playmat for my niece.
Very cool. That's awesome. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like this is one of those techniques where once you learn how to do it, you start to think of ways to put that. I mean, I also can see it used in fashion. So,
Mhm.
beyond quilts, for people who sew jackets or dresses or even hats, accessories, bags, I can see a lot of applications where this could be kind of that thing that takes those things over the top. You know what I mean? The like ooh and ah factor.
Absolutely. And once you have like a big piece smocked, then you can lay whatever shape you want on top of that and stitch around. And that's how you get things into the stocking shape. It's nothing special about the stocking that you do while you're stitching.
Right, 100%. So yeah, there's really great ideas here. I mean, seeing that in black satin or I don't know, there's so many ways to imagine this. So if people are like, wow, that is something new, which it is,
Mhm.
and something interesting that isn't that hard, but that could really add to my repertoire of skills, how can they learn from you how to do this?
Yeah, so I actually did a stitch along this past fall for the stocking specifically that includes this puffy triangles pattern and all of the instructions on like how to prepare your fabric, how to start marking your pattern, how to do the stitching, and how to assemble it into a final piece. And all of that is available as recordings now at training.gatheringfolds.com/stocking.
That's great. And I love the name Gathering Folds for your business because that is exactly what this is. It's gathering folds and making these
Mhm.
incredible pieces. So, I mean, I don't know if you do any in-person teaching, but I could see you expanding out into doing that if you wanted to, because I think this would be something that a lot of people would love to learn.
Yeah, I've considered it, and it's definitely something I want to do in the coming years. I haven't done it yet, um, partly because I started my business in in January 2020.
In the middle of, yeah, right
Yeah.
before. Okay, right before it like shut down and everything. Well, I do think it would be applicable to people at different sources of sewing and quilting conventions, as well as origami
Mhm.
conventions. So there's a lot of applications
Mhm.
here, a lot of people who would be interested in this. So much potential and excitement for the future for your business, which is awesome. We're really happy to have you as a member and to see your creativity and all that you're working on. So do you have anything coming up that you want to tell us about?
Well, I do have a membership that I'm opening for people interested in learning origami tessellations. It's called Tessellation Academy, and I'm going to be opening that up next week. So definitely stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram to see all of those updates coming soon.
That's great. So what do you get with Tessellation Academy? How does that work with what do you get in your membership?
Sure. So inside of Tessellation Academy, it's a monthly membership the first Wednesday of the month. So I actually just released this before joining this call, is a beginner tutorial. And then the second Wednesday is an advanced tutorial. And those are themed around a topic. So this month it's going to be alternating square twists. And then the third Wednesday of the month, we have a live workshop on theory and design. So why do these patterns work? What are some other possibilities? And going through and answering questions about, like, why are we folding it this way versus that way? And what are these different considerations for even higher complexity patterns?
That's great. This is really an opportunity to take your skill set somewhere new. So I totally encourage people who are intrigued by this to join, take part, learn something new, and then take it where you want it to go. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about learning something new like this is like once you see how it works, it opens up all new creative possibilities. So that's super exciting. Madonna, thank you so much for sharing your work with us, for being a member. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. And go check out Gathering Folds. You are not going to be disappointed.
Well, thank you, Abby. I've loved being part of Craft Industry Alliance, and especially the mastermind groups and all of the resources available. Y'all just have so much gathered together of this information that's really helpful for craft business owners.
Great. Well, that's great to hear. It makes me very happy to hear that. So thank you so much for saying that. And yeah, this has been awesome. Thanks everybody for coming today. And we will see you next week. All right. Bye everybody. Bye, Donna. Take care.